New York, London, Asia and London for the 29th to the 30th. 29th, which was the Thursday session, it was a bit more bullish in terms of price on the higher time frame still. Moving averages was still bullish. And essentially, I want to see some sort of manipulation for lower prices. So going into the open, you did have the possibility for a short for price to go lower. Um, there was a narrowly fair value gap here where price delivered in, took the clear and obvious high, uh, and essentially I believe market opens very bearish. What we'll see here is we could see a strong move down. Essentially at this point here I was still more bullish, but the strength of the price action going down kind of did make me start considering my bias again. What we did have is we had this 4-hour fair value gap here, and price was struggling to hold it. So essentially price was struggling to hold it. We lost the equilibrium of that previous range, so it was kind of telling us that price wanted lower prices. And essentially what happened was that the 2-minute gave us a really nice confirmation. It wasn't the greatest setup because you weren't really taking much, but you had this inverse fair value gap set up. Once the 10 a.m. candle closed on the 4-hour, you had a bit of a retest back up into this little inverse fair value gap, and price continued lower. And eventually what happens is we take the draw on the higher time frame, which was that clear and obvious low inside of daily fair value. Came up into the 11 a.m. macro where we made the expansion continuation back down to the downside. We took that clear and obvious low. Made sense. Once you had that manipulation move, 4-hour became bearish and you had this clear and obvious daily fair value gap to chase lower. So yeah, pretty kind of just had to be a bit more patient for this New York session. There was a nice short to open up the session, which made sense to take it at least into the equilibrium of the range, and then once the inverse fair value gap on the 4-hour occurred, then you had a nice little confirmation for a short entry down. It's going into Asia for the next day. So essentially Asia again will bearish on a lot of our moving averages except for the daily. What I did like was price to come in and take this yesterday's low, and then maybe some sort of reprice up, because what we did do, of course we inversed our 4-hour, but we did create 4-hour fair value gap on price here. Did have a 4-hour fair value gap, and you're still holding the 4-hour and the daily. Of course, you and the daily fair value gap, it made sense to look for some sort of long entry, maybe for some sort of reprice back up. So essentially the best area to do that would be into some sort of discount, taking some sort of liquidity, delivering somewhere. To open, didn't really do much. We just repriced down eventually. Eventually repriced down. The first 2 hours of Asia didn't really do much. We had a bit of a sell-off. The strong entry, of course, was a bit later. We took this hourly low, had a very strong bullish reaction. During the 9 p.m. macro. It's very algorithmic time. Essentially, not much happened. But the best confirmation that we got here for a long, this little low here, Very nice balanced BPR range. Of course, you originally took the sell side here, or the buy side liquidity, and you confirmed a really nice inverse fair value gap in the 1 minute. Good strong candle, more of a balanced price range. And this was what necessarily led to the continuation higher for price. Continuation higher. And price eventually did continue out. Essentially, the next confirmation from market maker buy model was a bit after the midnight open. You took an hourly buy side liquidity level low. Another really good BPR here on the 5 minute inverse fair value gap, and price did continue higher. Took the previous highs that you created down here near the open for Asia, and yeah, had a nice little sell-off. Going into London, I was mostly bullish. I kind of saw this low already kind of came in. Saw the low already come in. I wanted to see some sort of manipulation leg for price to continue higher, to take these highs. It kind of made sense looking on the 4 hour. I saw that manipulation already candle, and I want to see some sort of continuation higher into this 4 hour fair value gap. So price eventually opens, takes the 4 hour low, I believe, here from the last candle. Attempts to move initially, no real good setups here. This little inverse fair value gap, but it just really chopped around. Just have to be really patient for this one. That wasn't the greatest entry, and what you did have is you did have this big range. It wasn't the cleanest. You don't really have the cleanest price action here in the 1 minute at the moment. But eventually you did get the break here. Possibly a nice setup long, targeting these highs. The stop is a bit big. The R&R is okay. It's still a bit under 2R, which is quite good. It takes a while for this setup to really play out. Essentially, you get a much better BPR range in the 4 a.m. macro. Much better one in the 4 a.m. macro, holding that initial inverse fair value gap. But I don't know if we'll see by 5 a.m. Yeah, no, so the first hour of trading, you never hit those highs that you're targeting. That was essentially looking for. Price kind of did have initial manipulation, displacement move up in the 4 a.m. macro, but it failed to take our draw on liquidity in this case. Failed to take our draw. So yeah, no. Asia was a manipulation down leg, manipulation or displacement move down, and of course the manipulation leg higher. London, you kind of had the retest of the equilibrium of the previous range that you created, and then price had a nice little small move higher for London, but it didn't really do that much.